The Simply Energy AFL Women's WA Under-18s versus the WAFLW All-Stars live stream is proudly brought to you by NAB. Simply Energy, proudly supporting WA footy. And Front Row Screens, your local streaming superheroes.
A very good afternoon and welcome to Provident Financial Oval here in the northern suburbs of Joondalup. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. It is the 2020 NAB All-Star Series, the WA Simply Energy AFLW 18s taking on the WAFL Women's All-Stars here in Joondalup. WA's top female football talent today showcased, and we'll be watching closely by the AFLW recruiters ahead of the 2020 AFLW draft held on October 6. Matt Chetchin's in commentary today. Very wet, windy and cold Provident Financial Oval here in Joondalup. And joining me, the female football manager at Swan Districts and also their head coach from 2020, Joe Taylor. Very good afternoon, Joe.
Yeah, glad to be here, Matt, for a swan song, I guess, for the season 2020. Be good to see the girls get out there and showcase some talent today. Shame about the weather, but it's been a bit of a theme for us in WA this year. So the girls are used to it, so I don't think it should have too much of an effect on their skills today. It
is great to be able to watch and call football. Couple of big weeks in women's football, particularly in WA, and for the AFLW. We've got the combine testing coming up this Wednesday, the 30th of September at Wesley College. 12 players from WA invited, 8 of those we see in action this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, those girls have worked really hard, and obviously the AFL clubs have seen something in them and want to get them in for some testing. So they'll be out there today, just at a bit of a final tune-up, I guess, to show what they can do on the footy field before they get out there running some 2Ks and jumping high and bits and pieces. So it'll be exciting for those girls and the ones around that maybe haven't been invited to the combine who want to show, hey, you still need to have a look at me.
Yep. We spoke with Trent Cooper off air just before the game, and he's looking excited to watching this game this afternoon, despite the slippery conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Freo have had a great year, but they've had a really good build-up for the last 2 or 3 years, and to identify the next wave of talent to keep that going within the club, I think he's pretty pumped for it. And I saw the guys from the Eagles here as well, and they'll be certainly looking to boost their list. I think they've got 4 picks at the draft, so they'll be looking to see what they can get onto their list as well to make their 2021.
Let's have a look at the AFLW 18s team lineup, and a couple of names jumping off the page there. In particular, Amy Franklin from Claremont played 7 games this season, kicking 8 goals. So a key forward, obviously, in the forward line. She's named there at half-back, but be interested to see if she makes her way up the ground this afternoon.
Yeah, look, Amy's a West Perth junior, so This is her home club, and went to play some senior football at Claremont this year and had a great season. So it'd be exciting to see what she can do.
Let's have a look at the WAFLW All-Stars. Just completed their 2nd season, and we must congratulate the Peel Thunder, a rags to riches story there. Some interesting names, in particular, Luce Gilchrist, who plays in the Perth Football League. She's a handy footballer.
Yeah, just got some inside info. Told me that she not only won the best on ground in the grand final, but also the Peel Football League fairest and best. So be exciting to see her out there amongst this group of girls today. She's got a pretty strong athletics background, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see how she goes.
So we're just watching the teams heading in towards their position now. Just to inform you that the WAFLW All-Stars will be playing in the predominantly black jumpers with the gold trim, the gold numbers, and the opposite for the WA AFL 18s, thanks to NAB, playing in the traditional WA colours of the gold jumpers with the black numbers. I won't ask you for a tip, Joe, but it should be an even contest.
Oh, you would think so. I'm excited to see the talent out there and see the best of what we've got all out there and showcasing the game.
16-minute quarters and no time added on. Matt Chetchins and Joe Taylor. Thanks to Front Row Screens as we're underway. Ball just squirts out the side. We're looking for our first clearance of the afternoon. It's going to be a little bit wet and wild this afternoon. There was Luce Gilchrist firing off the hand pass. They kick forward and it's going to be intercepted in defence. This is Jessica Lowe from Claremont. Runs their full measure. Kicks under pressure. Just through the hands there of the number 12 in Gilchrist. So she's becoming active. They turn it over. They kick up towards centre half forward. Expect to see this kind of play throughout the afternoon. Good strong tackling there laid by the 18s team in Brianna Hyde. Ball comes out of there. The fans wanting a free kick, not forthcoming, so it's going to be kicked around the corner by Garstone. Heads out towards the outer wing. Will that be prior disposal? We wait on the umpire, and he pings the ball carrier. So nice early work there, an early touch for Rolly. Peel Thunder, premiership player, as they kick up towards half forward. Played 10 games this year, did Rolly. Chasing on to the ball now is that player in question. Little play in board was smothered. They tiptoe the boundary line on the outer side, and some strong tackling to start the game, Joe.
Yeah, look, the weather's probably going to make it a pretty contested game. It's good to see the girls haven't done us any favours and moved it onto this wing this week, but, you know, we'll adjust our eyes and be able to see what's going on.
So Rosie Walsh in the ruck now. That was holding the player without the ball, so the free kick will result in the hands of Tia Haynes. 7 games for Subiaco. 2 years in a row they've become runners-up, the bridesmaids, in the WAFLW competition. Furthest forward that the All-Stars have been. They kick inside 50 for the first time. It's a one-on-one at the moment. That's a brilliant pickup. She's their full measure. The umpire says get on with it. Feeds it off by hand. They kick around the corner. Awkward spilling, bouncing ball. Might get our first score of the afternoon. Laying the good tackle there, Catalano of East Fremantle. Kicked 5 goals this year, so she can be lively up forward.
Yeah, she's quite dangerous and she slips under the radar, so she's one that the 18s will want to keep a close eye on.
So kick down the middle of the ground, through the hands there of the number 12 in Gilchrist. And we've got a whistle and it's a hold, so it's going to the defender. Picked up there by Rolly. She's had a bright start to the game.
She has. She's just carrying on. Her form's been great, really, for 2 years. She's playing last year as a 15-year-old in league football, and she's been able to carry that through this year. So I expect her to have a really good game today. And you know, she's, I think, 2 more years away from draft age, so it's pretty exciting to see her out there.
But has the tools to go on to the next level?
Oh, most definitely. Yep. Most definitely.
Bit of a scrap on the broadcast wing. Nice work at ground level there by Garstone. They kick forward again. Big high up and under, inside 50. Good work in the back line. No prior opportunity, but the ball is jarred loose. Clearing kick will come out. It won't reach the boundary line just yet. Ball pitches nicely for those players. And keeping the ball alive, so well done. There from the 18s team. They kick down the line, but it's going to be chopped off. Lauren Vecchio, can you tell us much about her?
No, I actually can't tell you a lot about her. She's played a lot of footy for South Freo, and she's one of their prime movers. So, she'll be out there trying to really give a good account
Looks
of herself
to have a bit
today.
of speed along the wing as well.
Absolutely.
Kicked 2 goals this season, so can drift forward, which is always valuable. As the rain starts to tumble a little more, we've got another ball up. Well, it's going to be partly cloudy today. 90% chance of rain, which is what we're witnessing right now, and into the early evening.
Yeah, it's a shame. It was 30 degrees 2 days ago, so, WA is turning it on for us.
Thanks for joining us on front row screens, wherever you may be around the globe. Still yet to see our first score, but we've had some great skill on offer so far as they move the ball out to right half back. Maggie McLaughlin. And the State Academy pumps it long. Going without the footy there was Thomas. Ball was jarred loose, so it's in dispute. Definitely the WAFLW All-Stars have had the more time in their forward half. Bit of a tumbling punt up in towards the corridor. Hand pass smothered. Ends up in the hands there of Norrish. Kicks high, up and under, almost up the chimney flute. Lands fortuitously in the hands of Rosie Walsh. So the Sharks player propels them forward. This is Lyndall Road. Beautiful vision. And a chance for our first score. There's a player in over the back. That's Broadhurst, but the ball might just escape her and goes through for a minor score. So 5.25 minutes travelled, and we have our opening score. They miss out on an opportunity there with the ball just trickling through for a behind.
We just saw Lyndall Road bring that ball in. She obviously spent last season on Fremantle's list as a rookie, so she'll be working hard to try and earn her spot back onto an AFL list.
Lovely vision as the kick inboard hits up Denny Broadhurst, and she'll go back for the first set shot of the afternoon.
Another South Fremantle player. They first year in the league, but they've always been very strong in their youth girls.
Yep.
So they've got some really exciting talent coming through.
Didn't kick a goal this season, and that kick is hooking straight off the boot. So 2 minor scores. Now there's no windsock here, but you would say that there's maybe a goal advantage to the left of screen as the ball comes out from full back. Nice clean pick up. They link up across half back. Look to rebound from this position in the ground. Overrunning the footy there was the 28 and Cruttenden. Nice little spin move inside there. That was from Denny Broadhurst. A good build-up play. So WAFLW All-Stars definitely starting this game more cleanly, Joe.
Oh, most definitely. You see the ball in the hands of Chloe Wrigley, best on ground, Ludnita medalist in last weekend's grand final. So they just seem to have a little bit more synergy, if you like. So it'll be interesting to see the State 18s girls work their way into this one.
So Rolly towards the outer side of the ground. A little too much on that. Out of bounds on the full. Brought back in by Vecchio. So kicks long and very high up towards a contest. No marks taken. Little option over the top with a hand pass. We've got our first snapshot for goal. Very tight angle. Another minor score. So she's proving to be a bit of a handful there. That was Carter. 5 games for Claremont, but kicked 8 goals in 2020.
Yeah, and she's on the Eagles list. I'm pretty sure she's a rookie last year, come over from rugby. So obviously out there still trying to build into getting as much football as possible into her. She's a great runner and really good tackler. So she's just trying to get a bit more of a footy education out there.
It's great to see these other athletes coming over to the best game in the world as they kick forward. Also, we'll keep our eye on Jennifer Sadler today, former Australian volleyballer.
Yeah, it's been playing in the Peel Football League. So it's good to see a couple of girls straight out of the Peel Football League getting their opportunity out here as well, having been identified by the guys at the Eagles and the Dockers. You know, they're out there watching all the games. They're not just concentrating on the WAFLW, because you never know what little gems you might find out there.
Rosie Walsh fends it off to Willstrut. Her kick's been chopped off. They kick in towards the corridor. So a bit of a risky kick, but it's going to be great reward. So this is the best passage of play. This is Buckley looking to waste no time. Kicks to a contest. Great defensive work there by Gilchrist. Liked her start to the game. Little hand pass out the side of the pack comes out towards Harkin. They play a bit of tunnel ball. They stand up well across centre half back. Hard to pick up the greasy football at the moment. Some heavy work, bodies flying everywhere. In crashes Michaela Hyde. You know a lot about her, being from the Swan Districts Footy Club.
Yeah, she's worked really hard on her strength this year and taken her game to a new level, having played pretty much a whole season in WAFLW as an inside midfielder, coming from being a forward pocket. So it's really good to see the growth in her game, as we see in most of the young girls out there. And
no doubt we'll see some action from her sister as well, Brianna.
Yeah. Same thing. They obviously work together on their game and live together. So, you know, you expect to see the same sort of improvements in the girls.
Beautiful work from Goranova. Propels them forward. First time inside 50, and Chloe Riley from East Fremantle takes a strong contested mark. Kicked 2 goals in 2020 and played 8 games for the Sharks. This will be kicking into the teeth of probably a 1-goal breeze. So let's see if they can snatch the lead with effectively their first forward 50 entry. That kick's got plenty on it, and it thuds into the woodwork and strikes the left-hand goal post. That's had every inch of 40 metres about that. That was a pretty strong kick, but obviously the breeze just grabbing hold of that.
Yeah, and as we see, once the 18s girls start to get their hand on the ball, they're going to be able to work it forward and get some really good clean shots on goal.
So the All-Stars look to rebound again, out towards the outer side, and it's Dana East, 2-on-1, but she did brilliantly. Gained another 5 metres. Is that high? No, said the umpire. And now there's a push in the back, so the free kick will go to the WAFLW All-Stars. Now, scoreboard says 2-1, but I'm pretty sure that was 3-1. 3 behinds. Is that what you had the score as, Joe? But we'll double check that at quarter time. Kick comes inboard, an accurate one. And then just stepping around the player on the mark. That was brilliant. Long kick forward to a 2-on-1. Target there is Pickett, but they turn it over. Stooping down to pick it up is Garstone. Needs 1, 2, 3 attempts. The rain noticeably heavier at the moment. That is a strong tackle, but maybe yes, holding the ball. So nice work on the outer side of the ground. That's Shakira Pickett. Just 158 centimetres, so a live wire. Good smother on the football there from the WAFL All-Stars. Bit of a scraggy kick, but it's effective. All-Stars play does well at ground level. They've got numbers on this near side. Little hand pass received by Ella Smith. That kick won't travel the required distance, so it'll be a 50-50 ball. Gaining meterage with the hand pass is Haynes. Intercepted, a lot of time and space, good option. They recede ground, but they maintain possession. That was good vision. Kick through the arms of that player. Nice little hand pass. In goes Naira Anderson. Another Swan District's talent. Remember calling a few of her games last year. She's a very effective player. Yeah,
another one of those 18-year-olds that's been in the system for a while, but she's got some special talent about her, Naira, which we saw a couple of minutes ago back in the middle of the field. Just sold some candy and got a nice long deep entry into their forward 50.
Emily Bennett tries to find a teammate. They do get it forward. Tracking back the footy now is Garstone. Maybe caught one high, but manages to get right boot to ball. Winning the contested footy is Gillard. Tries to go in after it again. Plenty of smothers, some heavy bumps at the moment. And the players are giving it all at the moment. It's tremendous intensity. 2-on-1. Oh, just manages to shirk the would-be tackle. Back inside 50 again. Yeah, to the lead now of Naira Anderson. Can she gather? Just overran the football slightly. Now wrapped up in the tackle. Umpire said she disposed of it cleanly. Pushed off her kick there. This time was Matilda Dyke. They bottle it up. Leading that charge is Garstone. She's been in and around the packs, had a few disposals early doors, Joe.
Yeah, look, she'll be out there with something to prove as well. Spent the year also with Fremantle and played some games to the back towards the back end of the season. Unlucky to be delisted, but that's the nature of the game, and so she'll be trying to work her way back onto an AFL list.
So getting towards the closing stages, and the 18s with a snap around the corner, and it goes through. So finally our first goal of the afternoon, and it comes off the right boot of Emily Bennett, the Claremont player. Well, we've waited 13 minutes for that, and that was a fantastic opportunistic goal. A crumb in these conditions with a wet, heavy football, Joe. Let's have a look at the NAB replay. Under some heavy pressure as well. And that is a polished finish for our first major. Yeah,
it was a lovely finish there by Emily. She's another one of those girls who West Perth is her home ground, so she knows this oval well, and she plays some senior football for Claremont whilst West Perth are building towards getting into that top level, and she's been able to take her game to the next level. So it was a great finish, and we see her go back to the middle of the ground, see if she can't win the ball forward again.
So the 18s team, obviously the younger players, weathered the early storm with a barrage of behinds and then managed to sneak one at the other end.
Yeah, look, you would expect the 18s, their teamwork will come out at some point. They've trained together for a long time, whereas the All-Stars, that might take a little while for them to get together and
to gel.
And to gel.
Minute and a half remaining in this first term at Provident Financial Oval. Thanks for joining us on Front Row Screens, the 2020 NAB All-Star Series. Plenty of AFLW scouts here today, and that is a good mark by Julianne Norrish.
She did that all year for East Fremantle. She's probably one of the most underrated defenders in the league. She just works and works, and she takes those intercept marks all day.
And a durable player too, playing 9 games in 2020 for the Sharks. Do they underachieve slightly this year, Joe? I mean, it's hard for you to comment as an opposing coach, but they were the premiers last year.
Look, it was a tough year for a lot of clubs. The access to AFL girls was really limited, and when you had a lot of them on your list, it made the balance a little bit tough. If you ask them, I think they'd tell you they underachieved. Everyone has high expectations. So I probably thought they were about par on where they might have finished.
So cleared from left half back. Now, trusty producers just told us, Joe, that it may be 17-minute quarters, so we'll have to charge them overtime this afternoon. Just make sure we write that down on the sheet. Oh, there's a nice little soccer volley out of the pack up towards Grace Wilkie. Tight confines, fed it off there to Franklin. They move it forward. Going back with courage there was Lauren Vecchio, but she couldn't take a clean mark. We've seen some clever paddling of the football in the early stages. Ton of ball being played there by the goal jumpers. That was Michaela Hyde. Kicks up to the one-on-one, up towards Anderson. Slapped away from her. Trying to keep the footy in front, but that was well done defensively until the kick. But still gaining a little bit of time and meterage down the line. So it'll be a turnover going into the hands of the 18 squad. Playing in the gold and black jumpers to the right of your screen if you've just joined us. And that will hug the boundary line also, and it's going to be chopped off in the left back pocket. So Demi Little, nice kicking action. Good work in tight there from Tia Haynes. Has to go again. Good smother, and is that out in the full? We wait. Off the thigh. And there is the siren. So it is 17-minute quarters. Low scoring, however. A pretty interesting start. The AFLW and under-18s team leading 1-1 to 2 behinds. Joe Taylor, your thoughts of the first term?
I think it was, the weather hasn't done us any favours today. The girls aren't really getting to showcase their talents, but I thought it was a really hard contested game. The All-Stars probably were on top early, and as the 18s just found their feet a little bit there, they were able to get the ball forward and hold it there. They probably could have kicked another goal and given themselves a really good lead into the win, but yes, I think it was a good start, and we'll probably see the game break open a little bit more as it goes on.
So Emily Bennett, the only goal kicker, an opportunistic snap from about 30 metres out to the right of screen as we see the players in their huddles at the moment. Quarter time at Provident Financial Oval here in Joondalup. It is the 18s with their noses just in front. We'll be right back.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
What matters most to you? Is it the place you call home? Or a life on the land? Is it looking after your best worker? Or the business you've put everything into? Or a game that brings us together? What is money for, if not for this?
NAB, more than money.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Welcome back to Joondalup. We're at the quarter time break here at Provident Financial Oval. Matt Chechens and Joe Taylor bringing you all the action from the 2020 NAB All-Star Series, the first game that sees the WA Simply Energy AFLW 18s team with their noses in front. 1-goal, 1-7, leading the WAFLW team here this afternoon. And Joe Taylor sitting alongside me. Let's have a look at some of the highlights. Thanks to NAB in the opening term. I really liked the work of Naira Anderson in the forward line. I mean, not hitting the scoreboard, but she's proving to be a useful target.
Absolutely, and she's really clever. If she's on your team, she's certainly one that is going to create opportunities, and she tackles and she works hard to keep the footy in there as well. So she's a really good asset to any forward line, and I expect that she will start to hit the scoreboard as the game goes on.
And we're seeing a couple of set shots. Thanks again to Simply Energy for their highlights. As we see the only goal of the game. A bit of opportunistic crumbing there from Emily Bennett, the Claremont Tigers player. The team in the black jumpers, our WAFLW All-Stars, Sarah Garstone could push for best on ground in that first quarter for that team.
Yeah, and you know she's got some really good experience, and having come off of the Fremantle list, has got a really good fitness base behind her as well. So you would expect that, particularly if she's playing down back, that she's going to have a really a really big say on how this game goes forward, and she'll be really wanting to showcase her talents to give herself another opportunity. And
we mentioned the number 12 in the black and gold jumper in Luce Gilchrist, Curtin Uni Wesley, the Tigers. They went back-to-back this year. They had a 9-point win over the Warnborough Swans, and you have a look at her. You mentioned it, that she was the best and fairest for season 2020 and in the grand final. She's shown some early glimpses.
Yeah, look, she's got an athletics background, and a little bird whispered in our ear that she'd run a 6-minute 32K if she wanted to. So she was pretty prominent early. So it'll be interesting to see how she can go as the game goes on.
All right, so she have a big tank. So the second term's underway, and the 18s team with the first entry inside 50. Garstone lays the tackle. Ball gets jarred out the back now. There's a one-on-one, so the player's leading out, and that's going to be marked. So great play from the 18s. Bursting out onto the football there was Poppy Stockwell. 2 games for South Fremantle, but 3 goals, so going at better a goal a game. And she's coming off the long run, Joe.
Absolutely, and I watched her in the Rogers Cup Grand Final last year, and I think last week, third quarter, she turned it on. I think she ended up kicking 3 goals for the game, but she really took her game to another level last week.
So for a 4th goal of 2020, the goal umpire does not budge. 2 goals now to the Simply Energy WA AFLW 18s, no doubt with that set shot.
No, absolutely, and we just saw with that clearance, Michaela Morrison had her hands on the ball, driving the ball forward into the forward 50 there for the WA under 18s, and she's someone that you want to get the ball in her hands. She's a clean user. When it's wet, it's like she's playing with a dry footy. So if the 18s can get her into the game and get her starting to use the ball out of the middle, we're going to see some really special stuff come off the boot of Michaela Morrison.
So the Simply Energy 18s kicking to the left of your screen, the gold jumpers, traditional WA jumpers, and the WAFLW All-Stars in the black with the gold swan kicking to the right of your screen. They're kicking into probably a 2-goal breeze as the heavy rain continues to tumble here. It'll be a feature throughout the afternoon, and that has been a hallmark of the team in gold at the moment. Their strong tackling pressure. Took them 13.5 minutes for the first goal. It's only taken them just under 1 for the first goal of this second term. Almost a throw. In fact, it was, so the umpire agrees.
I see Tia Haynes involved here. She's going to get the ball now. She's another player. She's had been really unlucky with injuries. She was on Fremantle's list in, I think, season 1 and copped some nasty injuries. So it's good to see her out there really showcasing what she's able to do in these sort of games.
So how can the All-Stars respond? They had 3 behinds to open the game before that late goal to Bennett. Bar of soap at the moment, right in the middle of the ground. But neither team, Joe, and it's a great sign. They're not giving an inch. They're tackling ferociously.
Yeah, they're both pretty hungry for the ball and not letting it out easily. So it's a really good contest.
Lovely pick-up on the footy, and they kick it forward inside 50. It's a shallow entry, unfortunately, and the 18's getting numbers to the ball. That was well done by Beth Schilling. Fed it off to a defending teammate. Could be coming back as the numbers favouring the All-Stars at this stage. Under a little bit of pressure there was Michaela Morrison, but they did well. So there's just a one-on-one in the forward 50. If somehow the Simply Energy WA 18s can get the ball moving forward. Jarred loose again, and the All-Stars stand up momentarily. Through the hands on the outer side there of Mika Carter. They swing it forward. Bit of a chaos ball, this one. It's going to be awkward to pick up. Good composure at the back and a lovely clearing kick there from Hannah Corney, gaining at least 40 metres towards the outer side. Coming back towards centre half forward. Could be in the back there. We wait on the umpire, no prior. And a legal tackle, so we'll get a chance for players to reset. This is Rosie Walsh in the ruck. She's duking it out there with Lauren Quaife. Played every game for Peel as they went from wooden spooners, a fairy tale finish, to winning the grand final. Didn't travel the required distance, nor was it marked, so there's play on. Anderson's come to the back line to look for a touch. That's good, strong work. Emily Bennett just couldn't quite stoop down and pick the footy off her shoelaces. That was done there by a teammate instead in Rowley. Had a good first term, kicks up. Physical contest on the outer wing. And the boundary line waiting for the ball. The players just standing around it at the moment, waiting for it to hatch. Finally over the paint for a boundary throw in. Despite the conditions, we haven't seen many of these stoppages.
No, the girls have been trying to play corridor football and obviously score. You want to showcase your talents, and as much as it's been a contested game, they will be wanting to open it up.
And both goals for the Simply Energy WA 18s have been a result from that route one straight down the middle. Strong work there by Rosie Walsh, tying up the ball carrier. 183 centimetres. Wins that tap easily. Going in head over the ball was Bennett. Can she extract the football? Not this time. Goes with a second effort. Interesting technique. And a player taken without the football. So the holding on will go the way of the Simply Energy WAFLW 18s team. Interesting kick, but they're keeping it in the corridor. Went over the head of the intended target. Bevy of bodies around this, and another stoppage.
Would have been nice to see Courtney Rowley there. Just change the angle rather than kicking it to the congestion. And the 18s have got some good speed, so it would be good to see them get it out into the open.
What do you think the scouts or the head coaches at the next level will be looking at today? Obviously, they're aware of the conditions. What kind of things would suit this type of football?
I think, you know, tackle pressure, but also being brave enough to take the game on. You know, you've got to play to the conditions, but you also, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's windy or rainy. If you change those angles and if you use your skills, then the more skillful players generally come to the fore in these sort of conditions.
And right on cue, Brianna Spencer with a very nice mark. That would have been awkward to corral that football. Kicks up, big high fly at the back there by Carter. Couldn't take the mark. That's courage into the middle of the ground. Superb. And now they're taking it on. That was Vecchio. They transfer play just through the hands there by Jamie Harkin, but does well to butter up. So a bit of a foot race just in front of the interchange gates. Players meet and one out brilliantly. That was superb work. Brianna Hyde gains 20 metres down the line. Trying to battle a 1-on-2 was Jamie Harkin. Tough, strong footy to win. Player rolled in the tackle illegally. So the greasy conditions allow for the high shot. And the player didn't know that she was about to take the free kick. That was Jade Britton. Actually threw the ball back to the umpire, but it's still been paid. Who can get this ball out of the middle of the ground? Another hold. Bit of push and shove as well. We like to see the competitive spirit. So Chloe Wrigley, another Peel Premiership player. Kicks up down the line. Who can keep their feet the best? That's Carter at this stage. Just brought to ground now. Into the hands now of Beth Schilling. Towards the line and out of play.
And we just saw the All-Stars there. They did bring it back through the middle and switch the play and got it to the outside and got a bit of speed on the ball. And I think that's the way that they're going to score. And the 18s would also would like to do that. And just to showcase the talent that's out there on the field.
Shallow throw in. Well read there by Matilda Dyke. Won it down with the two hands. Up to the defensive paint of 50 for the 18s. Incorrect disposal holding the ball. So the 18s win it at true centre half back. Players looking to spread out across this Provident Financial Oval here in Joondalup, thanks to front row screens. Simply Energy and NAB as the ball awkwardly spinning, going without it. Has to go in on the second attempt there. Strong work from Rolly. So Hyde gets a clearing kick right up to the bullseyes in the middle of the ground. The All-Stars hunting in packs and numbers. That's Holtz. Kicks out towards left half forward. Catalano, what can she do? Turns it over. Goes in for a second time. Kick was smothered off the boot, so that mark won't be paid. Trickles out of the side of the pack. Oh, brilliant hands. No one at home, however. So no players forward of this contest at the moment. Good work in tight there by Tessa DeManis, who loads up for goal and kicks it. Well, that was fancy footwork, Joe Taylor. It seemed a goal out of nothing from the Claremont player. Just stepping around. Well, have a wait and have a look at the replay here. Have a look at this. Fancy footwork onto the left boot and through for the first goal for the WAFLW All-Stars.
That was a really, really good finish there by DeManis. She's obviously played at Claremont this year. I believe she's got a very strong soccer background, which, you know, makes sense when you see the way she kicked that ball and had control of it. So it was a really good finish and came from some good hard work from Carter across half forward and just to be able to lock it in there and create the scoring opportunity. It seems that it's a bit easier to score into the win than it is with it today. So that's a bit of an interesting...
It is. Good observation. You're always a chance in these conditions if the vacant goal square, you can skid one through because the ball tends to grip on the turf, doesn't it? And it just likes to skid on. Yeah,
particularly with that. She kicked it low, kept it so that it had a good trajectory and gave it every opportunity to go through.
It's exactly how Bennett scored to the right of screen for the first goal of the afternoon. So back within 4 points. They've had more scoring shots as they look to go forward again. Here's DeManis, elects to just lower the eyes this time. The ball will head out towards the back of the pack, and getting back unopposed now is McLaughlin. Just steps through, keeps her composure, looks for a teammate who elects to punch. That was Charlotte Thomas. She cops one in the back and then hand passes it over the line, and the umpire, very, very lenient. A boundary throw in.
And we just saw Mika Carter at half forward again, hit the ball and take it cleanly. So as the ball's going to remain slippery, but the girls will get used to it, and if they can take that ball cleanly and feed it out, then it's going to improve the scoring opportunities for both sides.
So well done to Anderson. Looks as though she's come back, and that kick will sail out of bounds on the full. I love the way Anderson attacks the football, and obviously a hard play to get arms around and bring to ground level. She can get away an effective disposal.
Yeah, look, she's low to the ground, but she's got that real strength about her, but she's also got that flair. So you can't overcommit, and I think that's why she's difficult to tackle, because if you go in hard to tackle, she'll often step you and make you look a little bit silly. But she's certainly a hard one, and she wins the contested ball really, really well.
So the free kick taken. Going without it there was Gillard. They kick up towards the forward pocket, tracking the football back against the flight of the ball was Schilling. Bit of a dangerous ball, keeping that alive. 30 metres from home. Well done. The 18s have stood up under heavy duress in this term. You would think that the breeze is blowing heavily towards that end. Working in tight space, just breaking through the pack was Michaela Morrison. That's almost one of the runs of the afternoon. Clearing kick, won't get outside their defensive 50, so they've still got some work to do to clear their defensive lines. They do it well by hand. Franklin linking up there with Chloe Riley out the outer wing, and that's the last touch rule, so it'll be a free kick.
And we just saw that touch of class by Michaela Morrison. She's got great footwork, good speed, and she's able to just handle the ball really well. I think she kicked a goal in every game this year, and probably the only player to do that in the WAFLW. So for her first year of league football, she certainly stood up.
So to do it at the other end of the ground, but to also just have the confidence to step around on rushing forwards. She's doing it in the back line as well. So good mark taken by the 18s, heading out back in towards the corridor. Nice work from Carter. She's had a very good second term. Back into the hands there of Gilchrist. She's a little quiet in this quarter. All right, we'll get a good view of this contest. Hand pass coming out the side. Good strong tackle there laid by Garstone. Hands and knees over the football there. It was Keir Buckley into the hands of Garstone. Receding ground, but they look to just bring it back into the middle. Now there's 4 players that could raffle it. And the mark is taken. Catherine Bennett loads up to centre half forward. Was that around the shoulder? No, said the umpire. Shirking through the tackle brilliantly was Amy Franklin and just boots it down the middle of the ground. Only as far now as Brianne Spencer. She returns the ball. Bit of tennis at the moment between the middle of the ground and half back. Can they be a little cleaner here, the All-Stars? Straight kick re-gives them the lead. Now they have a chance to set something up here. This is Lyndall Road. So she has to kick hurriedly under close attention from Corney. And gains good meterage and a chance for players to reload as we see interchanges being rung in for both sides. Anderson waiting to come back onto the ground, as is Quaife, the Peel player. Anderson heading back towards the contest.
She'll want to get on the move through this one. Her eyes will light up close to goal here.
So 2 minutes remaining in this term. Wilkie with some strong work in the ruck. Bennett kicks to a one-on-one, but well read at the back now by Amy Franklin. She'll be happy maybe to see it through. No, just backs herself. Doesn't even want to concede the point. Riskily kicks the ball towards the outer side. And they kick back inboard, socket off the ground, back inside 50. This is a chance now for the All-Stars to take the lead, but it's a spearing pass instead. Can the 18s get back and mop up? That kick's going to come off the side of the boot, up towards Tia Haynes. One way, then the other. Kicks off a step, and that goes to the left of goals and won't register a score out of bounds on the full. Not sure what was said at the quarter-time break for the WAFLW All-Stars, but it seems to have worked. They've come out rejuvenated in this term, Joe. Yeah,
they're just taking the game on. You know, there's no next week, so there's no point trying to save a game. They go out there and have some fun and showcase your skills and let everyone know what we can do. I think the sun's trying to come out, so that might give us something in the second half as well.
The floodlights are actually on as well, so ball goes out of play again. Just backward of that non-broadcast wing. So just under a minute. It will have to be a very good, quick clearance and some clean hands for either team if they want to hit the scoreboard before half-time. 2-1. The 18s 2-1 leading WAFLW 1-3. 30 seconds. Is this a chance for the All-Stars to take the lead? They kick into centre half forward. They'll need a mark. It's off hands. Down to around 20 seconds remaining in the term. The 18's just trying to get numbers here. It's going to end up in the hands there of Zoe Gillard. It pushed off her kick. Getting back to mop up now is Strover. Good clearing kick. Is that mark going to be taken? No, it won't. And strong bump towards the line. They'll keep it in. And that will do it. Half time. Well, the 18s extend, or maintain their lead, should we say, or they extend it by a point. Quarter time score was 1 straight. They now move to 2-1-13, leading the All-Stars 1-3. The goal kickers this afternoon, the 2 goal kickers Bennett and Stockwell for the Simply Energy WA AFLW 18s lineup. For the NAB AFLW All-Stars game here, and the WAFLW All-Stars, their only goal kicker was Tessa Demanis. It was probably goal of the day, you would say, Joe Taylor, at this stage.
Yeah, look, it was a great finish, and I thought that the All-Stars probably had the better of that quarter. They weren't able to capitalise on the scoreboard, which they'll be disappointed about, but we did see the Simply Energy 18s kick a goal in the first minute and a half of the quarter, and I think the ball was pretty much camped in the forward half for the WAWFL All-Stars for the remainder of the quarter. So, you know, that Bo McDonald, who'll want to get the 18s girls to start to get a bit more transition on the ball and to run it forward. And I think the All-Stars, they're just starting to gel a little bit as a team after that first half. So it'll be great to see what they can come out and do and give us in the second half.
You see the players making their way up the race here at Provident Financial Oval. So don't go anywhere. It's half time. We'll be right back to sum up all the action. It is the 18s leading the WAFLW All-Stars by 4 points. We'll be right back.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
What matters most to you? Is it the place you call home? Or a life on the land? Is it looking after your best worker? Or the business you've put everything into? Or a game that brings us together? What is money for? If not for this.
NAB. More than money.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
As we see the storm clouds starting to clear very slowly here at Provident Financial Oval here in the lovely suburb of Joondalup in Perth's north. Thanks for joining us wherever you are. Matt Chechens and Joe Taylor bringing you all of the action in the first half highlights thanks to Simply Energy. Here between the WA Simply Energy AFLW 18 side, who currently lead by 4 points. They led by 3 points at quarter time, up against some of the best women's football talent in the WAFLW competition, the All-Stars. And having a look here, we can go through the goal kickers. Bennett got the first of the game, took 13.5 minutes in that opening term, and then Stockwell within the first minute, Joe Taylor, to get their second. It was a quick start.
Yeah, it was, and it was an exciting start, and it looked like we were going to get some open play, but the WAFL All-Stars were able to get it back on their own terms a little bit. And yeah, but it was a beautiful finish by Poppy Stockwell as well.
Yep. As we just see some of the highlights, Naira Anderson has been a key target up forward, and this set shot was the one that sailed through. Poppy Stockwell, 2 games for South Fremantle, and as we said earlier, kicked 3 goals, so better a goal a game, and that's a polished finish right there. That was within the first minute. Before the response for the WAFLW All-Stars, as this has been a feature throughout the afternoon, some heavy bumping. I've been impressed, Joe Taylor, with the composure and the disposal and the nous of some of the 18s defenders, particularly across half-back this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that these girls, you know, they've now been in these programs for 2 or 3 years and maybe longer, and we're starting to see the benefit of that in that they've got composure, but they're also, you know, they're all doing strength programs, and we saw there with Brianna Hyde, she was able to put some body on and keep her feet and then have composure, whereas in years gone by, some of these young girls, they would go in and they'd go to ground a lot, and so just the benefit of being in these programs for a long time, we're starting to see that, particularly with the young players.
Some of the players that have caught your eye in this first half?
Look, I think Naira Anderson's had a fairly solid start to the game for the Simply Energy under-18s, and we saw Michaela Morrison do a couple of really special things, and I thought that for the All-Stars, that number 12 out there, Gilchrist, started the game really well. She probably didn't get as much of it in that second quarter. I think Sarah Garstone's been really good down back, and we've just started to see Mika Carter across half forward to really affect the game.
So as you can see, the sunshine starting to come out here at Provident Financial Oval. The start of the second half just around the corner. Well, the second season of the WAFLW has just recently concluded. 6 clubs packed with talent, and the Peel Thunderbirds with a rags to riches story, winning the flag after finishing as wooden spooners in 2019. Let's catch some of the 2020 highlights.
Brilliant marking from the side from the Bulldogs.
Just fumbled around with it at the top of 50 and it became another contested.
Working one on. Davison has a fly from behind.
Whoa!
She had it from 4 or 5 steps in.
Spark kicks the goal here, which it looks as though she has. She's put the Sharks in front. It in deep, pressure on the Claremont defenders, but guess who's there once more? Been an unbelievably good performance. Very happy Peel Thunder team. Why not?
Some big highlights. Some fantastic highlights there. Our package there at halftime. Joe Taylor, as we're back now at Provident Financial Oval in a competition that started with 5 clubs in 2019 and it's now seen it expand to 6 clubs, and then we have a team that finished wooden spooners going on to win the premiership. The competition really going from strength to strength.
Yeah, and I think the big difference this year as well was that coming into the last round of the season, every team except for South Fremantle could have finished anywhere. Subi locked up first, but the other 4 teams were all vying for anywhere between 2nd and 5th coming into the last round. So, you know, it was great. And we just saw in that highlights package some of the quality of football. And a couple of those girls that were highlighted are not out here today, you know, nursing some injuries. But, you know, a couple of the big highlights. Sinead Davison, number 14 for Swan Districts, took probably one of the best marks I've ever seen for a female footballer and had a great season. So, you know, the future's really bright.
Well, the umpires making their way back onto the ground. We'll go for a very short break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, it'll be the third term of the 2020 NAB All-Star Series. It's the Simply Energy 18s taking on the WAFL Women's All-Stars.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
What matters most to you? Is it the place you call home? Or a life on the land? Is it looking after your best worker? Or the business you've put everything into? Or a game that brings us together? What is money for, if not for this?
NAB. More than money.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
A lot of people, despite the weather, enjoying this contest. Half time, we were still awaiting both teams to head back onto the ground. Matt Chetchins and Joe Taylor at Provident Financial Oval here in Joondalup for the 2020 NAB All-Star Series game. It is the Simply Energy AFLW 18s with their nose in front. They led by 3 points at quarter time, one straight to 3 behinds of the WAFL Women's All-Stars, and they kicked their first goal and trail by 4 points. That is the All-Stars lineup heading out currently onto the field. It has been wet and wild conditions at the moment. We've seen glimpses of sunshine coming through, but you can see quite overcast. However, the tackling has been ferocious. Joe Taylor joining me. We need to thank Simply Energy, also NAB and Front Row Screens for bringing this wonderful showcase of talent, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you can't do it without supporters, and Simply Energy have come on board this year to support the female talent programs just as they do with the boys. And just on cue, we've had beautiful sunshine at half-time, and the rain is starting again for the start of the third quarter.
Now we will be reluctant in probably thanking this man, but Clint Daggerbrot has done a fantastic job again.
Yeah, look, he roped us in.
Yep.
No, look, Daggers has been with the program now for a number of years, and it's his second stint. Yep. He really was there right at the start of these academies, so it's good to see, you know, his vision for what talent is, and Bo McDonald along the way, and you know, Trent Cooper, who coaches Fremantle, he's been a coach of this State 18s team as well. So you know, for Daggers, these sorts of days are really exciting and important, and the amount of time that he dedicates into female football talent is a credit to him. Don't tell him I said it, but he does a great job.
Now let's look ahead to October 6th. The 2020 AFLW draft will be held obviously online, and it's going to be state-based.
Yeah, so that's the difference with the female program. With AFLW, obviously the pay isn't there yet equal with the men. So the girls nominate for the state that they want to go in. So you know, they still all work full time. So you can't just get a young kid from Mandurah getting drafted to the Gold Coast and go there with nothing and no job. So the way that they get around that is you nominate for the state. It doesn't mean that some from WA can't nominate in Victoria, but you need to choose, and you can't. You can only nominate for that one state. The thing is, though, if someone's not drafted, I believe that after the draft period, there is a signing period where anyone who's nominated for the draft, an AFL club can approach them and see if they would be willing to move, and they can be signed that way as well.
We look ahead to the 30th of September, so before this, that's this coming Wednesday at Wesley College, I believe. is the combine. So 12 players invited, 8 of those players in action today, and that's going to be obviously a chance to showcase talent, but I'd imagine it'll be a nerve-wracking experience, a bit like a job interview.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, you're in there. There'll be opportunities for interviews via the AFL clubs. They'll do a 2K, I think, on the Thursday at Floriat. There'll be sprint testing, jumping, the vertical leap bits and pieces.
Yep.
But for the girls in the 18s program, they're used to those sorts of things. But there's also a number of girls, 4 or 5 girls that are playing in the All-Stars that have been identified as overage talent who may not have been through that process before. So for those girls, they've been brought in over the last month and done some work with Deggers and his team and the State 18s to prepare them. But it is a nerve-wracking time. But again, these girls have been watched for the last year, 2 years. So, if they have a little bit of a bad day, it's not going to count against them necessarily. But it is so super important that they go out there and put their best foot forward.
We've seen in recent times high-profile players that have come from local and state league levels. Pickett, obviously the big story. You look at Tim Kelly that had to bide his time. And obviously that can be a viable option for overage players that are playing in our local competition.
Oh, most definitely. Look, it's the AFLW is still such a, you'd say an infant type of competition that they're still looking for the talent. And, some of that's out there today. You've got Sarah Wilstra's just gone into the ruck now for the All-Stars. She played C-grade last year in the Peel Football League, came and played some football for Swans this year, and now she's got her opportunity and she's been invited to the combine. So the pathway's there for people out there in amateur football as well as those in the state league.
Just a quick question before we get the bounce for the third term, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but you've been around football a long time. Are you happy with its upward trajectory at this point in time?
Oh, most definitely. Look, and it's exploded in the last 2 years. And what people need to remember is the AFLW was supposed to start in 2020. So we're 3 years ahead of where we thought we'd be. And that trickles down to our state leagues. And we've seen just the added professionalism of the WAFLW has seen the level lift. And, I think there's 30 or 35 teams now playing in the Peel Football League as well.
Joe, as you know, I'm a primary school teacher. I'm out on duty, and there's so many of the young girls out there kicking a footy. It's fantastic to watch. So some future idols in this game as we get the third term underway. So the Simply Energy AFLW 18s team kicking to the right of your screen in the traditional WA jumpers, the gold and the black numbers, and the Waffle All-Stars kicking to the left of your screen with a slight breeze, even though we've seen more goals kicked to the right of screen as they kick up forward, looking for the first entry. Good battle on that outer wing. We've seen that's been a feature throughout the afternoon. In goes Strover. No prior opportunity. Ball up. Sunshine starting to come through now. Let's hope the ground can dry out a little bit. The 18s looking to extend this lead at the moment. 3 points at quarter time, then up to 4 points at the main break. Kick inside 50, only momentarily. Tessa DeManis, their goal kicker. Probably the goal of the day so far, the pick of the 3 this afternoon. A little hand pass inboard. Sarah Wilstra had to get onto the boot very, very quickly. Chaos ball up inside 50. Now this has been a strong feature of their players, standing up to a bit of pressure. They managed to do so again, this time through Rolly. Slap forward now by Carter. Little right foot snap around the corner from Harkin. Pitch is just inside, does it? Just inside the paint of the forward pocket as we see the bench. Gaining a breather. No doubt they'll be back out. A lot of interchanges today as the boundary umpire has to field the ball.
There's a really strong pick up there by Jamie Harkin. Plays a lot of her football in the back line for Subiaco, so good to see her getting her opportunity up forward.
Talented team, the Subi lineup. Bridesmaids in both years, but they'll bounce back next year, you would think. Wilkie in the ruck, won it down. Some strong tackling going in there with Sadler. Ex-volleyball player, represented her country. And you wait, she was part of that Curtin team that went back-to-back again, defeating Warnbro on 9 points. Little snap here for the All-Stars by Chloe Wrigley. Up towards the pocket. Big fly. And the pack of players off hands. Boundary throw-in. 17-minute terms. And no time added on. So every goal so valuable. We've only had 3 this afternoon. Good to see a lot of both teams not really flooding at this stage of the game. Same can't be said about the weather, however. So the 18s get another clearing kick. And escorted over the line for another boundary throw-in is Lyndall Road. Bit of a tamer start to this third term.
Yeah, it's a little bit dry, so the girls will be just, you know, going to get their hands on the footy and start to move it forward. But the All-Stars, again, have started the stronger of the two teams, and the Simply Energy 18s, again, they've held up really well under pressure back there, so they'll be wanting to try and get some transition, and here's a 50-metre penalty which will help them.
Yeah, the first one, and that's the mark of the day easily for East. Showing good strength, sitting under that wet football and then gaining the 50 metres. Now, no one from the All-Stars on the mark, so she can gain another 20 metres. A 70-metre penalty effectively, and that kick should be disappointed with, but well read by Chloe Wrigley. Now, Wrigley turns it over to Britton. Britton set upon. Good defensive work this time by Tia Haynes. Here come the 18s. What can they muster up? They've been good across half-back. Can they get it going forward? Well sharked there by Cruttenden. They kick inside 50.
They'll be wanting to try and get Cruttenden into some space. She's, I believe she's the Australian title holder for the 100-metre sprint. Or
wow.
If not the title holder, she's in the top 2. So
yep.
If we can see her in some space on a wing, I don't think anyone will catch her.
Right on cue. She just couldn't stoop to get the football. Good strong smother on the footy. So the All-Stars having to mop up from defence. Clever kick around the corner. Bit of space out towards this near side, towards the boundary line. One arm pinned. Just manages to get the right fist through the ball there. Kick further forward. Now the numbers will favour the All-Stars. It just depends on how the ball pitches and out of play. So you would think that the 18s, rather the All-Stars, would be happy with that result and a chance to reset and to get players accounted for another stoppage.
Yeah, and the 18s will be looking for a quick, deep forward entry here and see if they can't capitalise.
Toss back in, and I think that's Broadhurst that won it down at the front. And a throw. So turnover by the All-Stars to Raleigh. Been very consistent in this match. Looks inside. No clean grab of that football. Chance for a set shot. Again goes begging. And no prior opportunity. 4 points remains that margin. So we approach 6 minutes. Third term. Bit of a stalemate at the moment, Joe.
Yeah, and the opportunity was there for the Simply Energy 18s. They've been able to camp in their forward line a little bit here. So but it looks like the All-Stars might just be able to break away from half-back and get some clean footy going forward.
And they do so on cue. Reading the fall of the footy there brilliantly was Catalano. Fed it inside, but not the result that she was after. It's going to have to go again now. Off the deck goes Jade Britton. Gains valuable meterage there for the 18s team. Kick around the corner. Superb vision. Just couldn't complete that passage of play. Going without it was the 28. And the free kick will go the way of the All-Stars. Someone's had a jumper change and not alerted us, Joe, so you're the expert. I'll get you to keep an eye on that one as the 18s will look to load up. Simply Energy 18s for WA. Good strong spoil. In on hands and knees. Oh, beautifully read. Just sharking that hand pass was Wilkie. Now just kicks for open space towards Anderson. Now it'll be a matter of who can keep their feet. It's going to be Anderson that wins that battle convincingly and then manages to just dribble it through. Well, it was a good 50-50 contest, but it was Naira Anderson who stood tallest. She kicked 3 goals on the season, kicks her first today. Let's have a look at the Simply Energy replay. Just strong work. And the ball just trickling over the line inside the padding of the right-hand goalpost. Can't sing her praises highly enough this afternoon.
No, she's certainly putting her name forward. She's a crafty forward. Just saw her there. She was able to keep her feet where her opponent went to ground, and then, she might have liked to kick the ball a little bit harder than that, but she did enough to get the ball through, and it's hard work out there today, so it's going to take something special like that to get it.
It's all about theatre, Joe. Yeah. It's all about bringing the crowd in. The little P-roller that just trickles over the line is superb. Jason Dunster wouldn't appreciate it, however. So that's the biggest lead of the afternoon, 10 points in favour of the 18s team. How will these All-Stars respond? Wouldn't have had too many training sessions together and after a long season.
No, and the girls that were involved in finals obviously haven't come in until after their finals. So anyone that was playing for Peel and Subi have only really had the one session. So, it's probably seen a little bit of that today with a lack of cohesion. But these girls are professionals or semi-professionals, and they'll give it their absolute best.
So with your expertise and obviously your club, you're obviously the female football manager, but also the head coach, what are some of the lesser-known names that are coming through, maybe some of the younger age group from your club, Joe, that we might see in a contest like this moving forward?
Look, you see, there's a couple out there. You've got for Swans, M. Nanette, who's another year away from being draft age. She's a classy ball user. But we've spoken about Cruttenden, Rowley, these girls from Peel and South Freo. There's a really good group coming through. And prior to this game, there was a next-gen game on the academy game, and we saw Tara Stribley out there, who's at 16 played 7 or 8 games of league football. And so the next wave of players coming through are pretty exciting.
Yep. There's some names to look out in the future. So the All-Stars looking to go forward. Empty forward line at the moment. Dangerous ball to overrun there, but again they stand up. Ball in hand now of East. She kicks down the line. Solid ball on the football from the All-Stars. Have either a boundary throw in or a ball up. It'll be the former.
The defensive unit for the Simply Energy 18s has been really, really solid today. They've worked well together, and they've rotated a lot of different players through there. I see M. Nanette down there. She started in the midfield, so they obviously know their role, and these girls are just slotting in and out, which is good to see.
Would you say it's a position in AFL, maybe not so much as the ruck position, but a position that's had a change in dynamics and how it's used? Would you say over the last 10 years in the men's and women's competition? It seems as though they're not just big-bodied spoilers of football. They need to be, some of the better kicks in the teams now, Joe?
Oh, most definitely. And I think in the men's game, Luke Hodge probably was one of the first to change that and play that, quarterback position. But that's where the drive comes from. And, we're seeing that in the women's game as well. We all want to play a front half game, but, as you compress up the ground, those halfbacks become really, really important, the way that they deliver the ball into your forward 50.
So the future looking good with the WA 18s team being a feature of this afternoon. So we've got a free kick, another throw, testing conditions, as we've already mentioned. So the Simply Energy 18s will have another chance to reload from this half-back line. Into around 5 minutes to go, just over until we reach three-quarter time. Game's still up in the air. Just maybe one or two more goals from the 18s may close the door on this one. So the All-Stars will want to stand up now. Important part of the game. Just trying to break through the lines, and incorrect disposal. Strong tackle laid by Quaife, Peel player.
Yep, she'll be on a high after their grand final win last week. So good to see these girls backing up after what's a pretty big high. Coming from the wooden spoon the year before through to winning the premiership. It's and it's off of the back of these young girls that you're seeing out there today. They made a really conscious decision at Peel to concentrate on some juniors coming through, and this year you saw it. It's at Swans we've done the same thing for a few years, and you see that when you're out here, and you've got your best players because they're in these programs, so they're learning all the time.
It's amazing the progress that can be made. I mean, a team that goes from wooden spoon to premiers in the space of 1 year. I mean, and that's a credit to the whole coaching staff, but also at state level as well. Obviously, a lot of these players have featured throughout.
Yeah, most definitely, and also to the guys at the Football Commission and the way they've set up the competition. You know, they made a conscious decision to go with the 5 teams in year 1 and then 6 in year 2 because we want to make sure that we've got a concentration of talent and that there's not the big gaps. You know, when you don't want all of the talent in sort of 1 or 2 teams.
Yeah,
so
and it can affect the standard moving into higher levels as well.
Absolutely. So it's a credit to the way that, you know, the WAFL board and the WAFC have set up the competition, and they've been really considered in the way they're trying to grow it, because they don't want the standard of competition to drop off. And we see that out here. These girls are playing in that league football competition, and you can just see the skills that they're showcasing.
A fantastic build-up play goes unrewarded. A little snap out of the pack there by McLaughlin, and that just misses to the left-hand side, through for a minor score. Thought Cruttenden was a little unlucky not to cop the free kick.
Yeah, she nearly took the mark and probably got a bit of an arm chop, so, you know, she'll consider herself a little bit unlucky there.
So stepping over the mark is Garstone. So she's under heavy duress, but manages to get effective kick away, and that was good. Under heavy pressure, and Holtz just standing her ground and taking the mark. 8 games for South Fremantle in 2020 through the arms of Wheelstrup.
It's great to see so many players from South Fremantle out here representing. They're building into something special. They might be the next Peel in 2021.
Can only be good for the competition. There's Cruttenden wrapped in a good tackle, managed to get the hand pass out. Volleyball at the moment. It's going to be extracted, just trying to bust her way through 2 tackles and then slung in the end. There's Emily Bennett. Kick around the corner. Now this is an important 2-on-2 battle. Anderson, she's kicked already a crumbing goal. In on hands and knees. Fed off a brilliant hand pass. Take a bow, Naira Anderson. Lauren Quaife reaps the rewards, but how good was that, Joe Taylor, at ground level?
I think Naira's probably put her hand up as a bit of a best on ground out there to this date. She's just been clean with the footy, and just to be able to win that, but not panic and give out a really good handball to the player in the best position and not go back into congestion. That was exciting play by the Simply Energy 18s, but particularly by Naira Anderson to have that composure in that contest.
So she kicked a goal on the 7-minute mark of this term. A fantastic crumbing effort where she was a strong body, stood on her feet, and then to go up for a contested mark, bounce up, fire off a rocket hand pass, and Quaife did well to read that passage of play, and she's the recipient of the goal. But that was one of the highlights of the afternoon. Thanks again to Simply Energy for bringing us that. Ball comes back in, heading towards 3/4 time. Matt Chechens and Joe Taylor here in Joondalup. Hoping you're enjoying the call. Thanks to Front Row Screens, wonderful supporters of WA football throughout 2020. Maybe 1 minute to really put the foot on the throttle for the 18s. Lovely little hand pass. They link up well across half forward. This will be a chance because they've got a lot of space. Probably 2 kicks from home. Can they get an effective one? They can this time through Jade Britton. Kicks up towards full forward. That's a chaos ball. It's an awkward bouncing. Took a bit of a leg spinner. And the All-Stars clear. Now 30 seconds remaining for the player in the number 30. Britton from the Thunderbirds loads up and just drops short. Just hung in the breeze. Well read by Garstone. Transfers play, and you would suggest that the All-Stars escape without further carnage to the scoreboard. And there is the siren. We turn for home, and a quarter dominated by the team in predominantly gold and black. I won't say gold and black to confuse you, but 4 goals to 26 at 3/4 time, and they have got the biggest lead of the afternoon. They've led at every change so far. The Simply Energy WA AFL 18s, and showing a little bit of class and polish, particularly around the big sticks in that term, Joe.
Yeah, look, as the weather's dried out a little bit, we've just been able to see the 18s get some speed on the ball and deliver it well. And then it just takes a bit of class up forward, and we saw that from Naira Anderson, taking her opportunities. Got the crumbing goal early, and again was able to feed that one out to Quaife to finish off. But yeah, the Bo McDonald will be pretty happy with the 18s after that quarter.
We turn for home. 1 quarter remains. How will the All-Stars respond? Find out. We'll be right back from Financial Provident Oval.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
What matters most to you? Is it the place you call home? Or a life on the land? Is it looking after your best worker? Or the business you've put everything into? Or a game that brings us together? What is money for, if not for this?
NAB. More than money.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Welcome back to Provident Financial Oval here in Joondalup, and having a look at the WAFLW All-Stars team. They've got it all to do. A game-high lead of 17 points to the young guns in the Simply Energy WA AFLW 18s squad. They have been pretty strong throughout this game. 4 goals, 226, leading the All-Stars 1-3-9, so extending a 13-point lead, rather a 4-point lead at half-time, out to a game-high lead of 13 points. Goal kickers for the team in front, Lauren Quaife, who got the last one of that second term. Naira Anderson kicking one in the third term. And also goals going the way of Stockwell, and also Bennett, and Dumanis has kicked the only goal for the WAFLW All-Stars. As we have a look at their team huddle at the moment, that is the 18s squad at the moment. Joe Taylor, what do the All-Stars need to do? I mean, obviously they need to kick more goals in this last quarter. The breeze is blowing to the left of screen. They'll be kicking to the right of screen. However, we've had more scoring shots at that end of the ground this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they just need to get their hands on the ball and get it on the outside and use their speed and skill. They're a classy team, the All-Stars. Again, we said it earlier, they haven't really trained together, which doesn't help, but it's a team of players who certainly have the calibre of player out there to rein this in is there, and we've seen the girls run the ball into the wind and be able to score at that end anyway. So I wouldn't write them off yet, but for the Simply Energy 18s, they just need to keep going the way they're going. I thought that that Courtney Rowley really started to drive the ball forward for them in that quarter. And, we spoke about Naira Anderson, but I thought Brianna Hyde also down back, just really strong, and so for the All-Stars, they want to start well, they want to get it forward, which they've been able to do in each quarter, and then they'll just want to try and get some score on the board.
Such a well-used cliche, but really the first goal is crucial in this fourth term. So the players into position, ready to go. Matt Chechens and Joe Taylor, thanks to Front Row Screens, have been wonderful supporters of both the men's and women's Football League here in WA Thanks also to Simply Energy and to NAB as we get this fourth term underway. Let's see how the All-Stars can go to the scoring end of the ground. In the black, predominantly black and gold jumpers. Another ball up. Will result. No, the umpire letting them go. 17 minutes this final term, no time added on. Was that dropping or incorrect disposal? No, said the ump. So they're letting them play today. The umpire has been superb this afternoon, allowing these players to showcase their talents. Good tackle from Anderson, jars the footy loose. Goes in again, set upon by two black jumpers there. Comes out the way now of the 18s player in Britain, but the kick was smothered. She'll get another chance from 40 out. Elects not to go to the vacant square. Instead, look to honour the lead there of Morrison. And chopped off for the 18. So Franklin goes to an open square. Which way will it bounce? It stays to the right through for a minor score. They are the team that wanting to take it on at the moment. And why wouldn't you with the lead?
Absolutely, and we just saw Jade Britton earlier deliver that ball, and she's had a really good second half to this game. From Peel Thunder, obviously up and about after a really good week, and she's been really important across half forward, the way she's moved the ball forward and got it in deep.
Just while we've got a bit of lull in play, we need to give a shout out to Kato Bosmans, who a mid-game trade was the 28 jumper in the All-Stars team, so shout out to her. See if she can get her hands on the footy. That's a bit of a chaos ball up towards the kickoff line. Shark by Anderson. Can she get her second? Not this time. That was a great smother of the footy by Jess Lowe. They bring it down to ground level. They somehow get a snap out of nothing and ushered through for the rush behind. So they extend their three-quarter time lead. 17 points out to a game high, 19 points now. 2 minutes ticked over in the final term. And this is what the All-Stars need to do. They just need to play on and just attack this young team. Now, an 18s player's down at the moment. We hope that there's going to be no injuries in this game. We'll keep a close eye there, Joe. But here come the All-Stars. Just getting right boot to the ball there. Kicking around the corner was Jamie Harkin. Read at the back now by Brianna Hyde, and does well. Good skill execution to Emily Bennett. And this has been a feature of their play. They look to square it and then go down to the corridor, but they look to play the little horseshoe reverse of the flanks at the moment, and it's effective. Ball in the hand now of Goranova.
And good news to see Amy Franklin just running back over to the contest. I think it was maybe a bit of a cork, just a knock to the thigh there. So good to see her up and about and back into the contest.
Here comes Anderson, just puts the stiff arm and kicks deep inside 50. Going back with the flight of the ball. That's a good mark. Knew that she was going to wear one, and she was going back with the flight of the ball, and that was Holtz. And the South Fremantle players, and just transfers play laterally to Garstone. Not easy to back into a pack knowing there's someone coming the other way.
No, it's, you know, we talk about bravery, and that's probably the most frightening thing to do on a football field, and you've just got to trust that the player coming towards you is going to look after you a little bit, and I think that's what we've seen out here. The spirit of the game's been outstanding.
So the All-Stars finally gained some territory, but they can't get clean footy at left half forward. On screen there, Jamie Harkin, Subiaco player, 7 games in 2020. The All-Stars, this is an understatement, but they need to get this clearance and get something going inside 50. That is a very skew-with boundary throw-in. That will favour the All-Stars. Having a kick off the step there was Tia Haynes. And they will just get that forward 50 entry. Up to about 45 metres from home. 18's defensive held up superbly. They force another stoppage.
They just haven't been able to get that deep entry. You know, we talk about inside 50s, but in women's football, you really need to be talking about inside 30s. And we just see Sarah Wilstra go down there in that ruck contest with a pretty hard landing. Hopefully she's okay. She's one of those overage players that's been invited to the combine this week. So hopefully it's just a bit of a knock and taking the wind out of her. She's
not looking interested at all at coming off the ground. She's ready to go. So tough customer, and she'll jewel it out in the ruck and wins it down with the right hand and then follows up with the left. Only as far as the 18s player in Franklin gets the clearing kick up towards Anderson. BOG for both of us, you would say.
Oh, definitely.
Shows a Clean pair of heels and kicks into the corridor. Oh, that's another good mark. Now they're out. A 2-on-1 over the top. They run their full measure. That's an interesting kick. It's gone to the only defensive player. She had 2 options and unfortunately just didn't come off that time. They dodge a bullet. Good mark. Better signs from the All-Stars at the moment. That was strong work, Gilchrist. Back out to the wing. It's going to come back. Strong work at the front. Bring it down to ground level. There was Garstone. But they get the interception here as Franklin kicks up to a 1-on-1. Great spoil on the footy, but guess who's on the scene? Anderson. Could she get clean grab of the football? She does. She's corralled, but she fired off a fantastic hand pass to Maggie McLaughlin. Kick off the side of the boot and starts tumbling towards the line.
Just rushed that kick a little bit there, Maggie, and she rushed one a little bit earlier as well. She's a great user of the football, having played some senior football this year at Subiaco, and she'd want that one back, take that extra step and take a breath and really hit it up. So she's generally a really good kick of the footy, so she'll get that one back.
Rosie Walsh does well, wins it down at the front. McLaughlin on the scene as well. Gains meterage, so this ball will come in right next to the padding of the right-hand goalpost.
Dangerous times down there with Michaela Morrison and Naira Anderson, both on the move around this stoppage. The defenders will really want to be on their toes and not let them run through.
So neither ruck can get a decisive hit out. Here's Anderson. Hand pass linking up. Charlotte Thomas, bit of scrappy play. Is there a fist to the ball there? Not this time. We've seen a few of those incorrect disposals or throws this afternoon, but credit the tackling. Little. Out of play, off hands.
The All-Stars really need to be able to set up around this stoppage now and get some quick ball movement forward. Time's nearly getting away from them, so they'll want to get one pretty quickly here off of this stoppage.
Thoughts of Swan District's head coach Joe Taylor. We'll see how this plays out. Beautiful work in tight from Amy Franklin. They go inside 50, kicking up into the pocket towards Morrison. She gets hemmed in that pocket, but gets the effective hand pass, looking for a teammate. Now there's a player free in the goal square, but not used. Little flying snapshot for goal, registers a point. That was Kia Buckley. Subiaco player, kicked 5 goals in 2020, so knows how to find the big sticks. No player on the mark, so the All-Stars can play on. Juggled mark, not paid. So the 30s do battle. Into the hands now of Carter. Awkward spinning ball. That asked a lot of Jennifer Sadler, the ex-volleyballer. Another interception across half forward. Pumped forward now by Goranova. Into the hands now of Jade Britton. Can run her full measure. Looking for a leading target up front. Anderson did well. Won another ball. Kicked up the chimney this time by Charlotte Thomas. Clean grab out of the pack and a little snap around the corner is going to bounce through. We've seen some amazing goals today. In fact, it's touched. Well, the fans liked it. I liked it. You knew exactly what was happening, Joe.
No, I liked it as well. I saw the goal umpire. It was a great finish, though, to be able to get it through on that angle off the outside of the boot.
Tremendous skill. We're seeing the future of West Australian women's football in this game this afternoon. Best of the WAFL women's competition and the up-and-coming draft hopefuls. Here come the All-Stars, back up towards centre half forward. Body's going crashing through. Clean pair of heels here from Brianna Hyde, and unfortunately bit off a bit more than she could shoot. Ran into the stop sign, and Jamie Harkin. And Harkin, they finally get some clean ball, and as you said, almost an inside 30 chance here for the All-Stars, and in the hands of Tia Haynes.
Yeah, this should be right on the limit for Tia, but
Yep.
she is a classy footballer, and a lot of experience. She'll know her kick better than anyone. So hopefully she can kickstart something here for the WAFLW All-Stars.
And started right and just scrapes through for a minor score. Kicked 1 goal 5 on the season, but that's not to put her down at all. But to be getting scoring shots, you've got to be doing something right in the game of football. So can't hit the big sticks now, but it's going to be chopped off. So Tia Haynes, another chance, too far out to score, just sets it up, and that's a very handy mark from their only goal kicker, Tessa Demanis from Claremont. And a left-footed player too, or judging from her last goal, unless she kicked it off a non-preferred. But this, you would suggest, if he kicks this left boot, will be an accommodating angle.
Absolutely, and we saw earlier that she's a pretty good finish, so Tessa will be hoping to get another one on the board here.
So it just opens up the angle. We get a good view of it, as it just doesn't have the journey, but socket off the ground off hands. Minor score. Better signs for the All-Stars, but they can only inflict little minor paper cuts into this lead at the moment. Time's against them. We're into the final 6 minutes of this game. Down the outer wing. Ricochets off a big fly at the back. Couldn't take the mark. I think it was the 13 of Mika Carter, and she looked for the hand pass, but it wasn't forthcoming. Clearing kick now from Bennett. Gained some good acreage on that outer side of the ground. Player manages to free her arms. Players still not giving up on the contest. They are flying in, pinballing at the moment. Finally, a chance to draw breath and another stoppage on the outer wing. Mika Carter with the attempted screamer at half forward before, bit of excitement.
Yep, she was trying to get herself on the highlight reel there, but she's actually been pretty good today across half forward. As we said, she's fairly new to football, but she's really presented and given some good, strong contests across half forward for the WAFLW All-Stars today.
Wrigley gets the ball moving forward. They scrag the kick in again, another very shallow entry. Can they keep the ball alive? They can this time. And the hand pass battered down, and Chloe Wrigley from the Peel Thunderbirds unable to get there to save the ball from going out of bounds.
Lou Nitter medalist for best on ground last week in a grand final. I see Tia Haynes has really come into the game in this last quarter. We mentioned earlier that she, she's only young in my terms of age, Matt.
Yep.
But she's been around the game for a long time and never had a lot of luck with injury. Here we see Cruttenden in some open space get those...
That 100-metre pace and the kick to boot as well, if you don't mind. So they propel themselves inside 50. Unfortunately, the mark couldn't cap off what was a very exciting passage of play, but they still might be on here. But the hand pass misses its mark and out of play. She just showed exactly what kind of pace she had there.
And I would suggest if we hadn't had as much rain as we have today, she might have taken a bounce and really given our creators some space. And she's another player who's too young to be drafted. She's probably another 2 years away, I believe. So excitement everywhere out there on the field today with these youngsters coming through.
Toss back in and player gets wrapped up. Hurried kick will come out of defence. Got to credit the All-Stars because they've tried to take the game on in this fourth term here with a series of soccers. Will it stall or will they be able to move the ball further forward? Now they could have an option in Demanis over the top. That's where this kick heads to. And she takes basically the uncontested mark. Now there's two options for her. She kicks straight into the player on the mark, but she does well to butter up and keeps a cool head despite having her first attempt smothered. And Tia Haynes has taken the mark and another chance for her to hit the scoreboard. That was good play from Demanis despite kicking into the player on the mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tia's probably 5 or 6 metres closer this time, so she might get a better read on the wind.
Wet, heavy football, but we need to account for that. So unfortunately she can't cap off. It was a very good passage of play, so another minor score, but they've really not thrown in the towel in this contest, as you would expect.
No, Demanis is lovely off of that left foot. She's quite a penetrating kick. It's low, and she's just taken a lovely overhead mark there as well. So she's certainly not given up on the contest.
One of the shining lights, her disposal is tremendous, and they look to move it forward. So kick mark results in another set shot, this time for Catalano, I think it is.
Yep, forward from East Fremantle, so she knows how to find the goals. So, you know, she'll be hoping that she can cap her game. She's had a reasonable game today. She started really well, faded out probably through the middle of the game, but we're wanting to finish strong.
Chance for a silver lining in their cloud today. She's kicked 5 goals this season. That won't have the required journey. And again, Simply Energy under 18s respond, but there's Demanis, who could maybe have a hand up for best on ground as far as, well, one of the better players, shall we say, for this all-star lineup. Yeah,
she's created a bit of havoc up forward there. She's just finds space, and you know she's quite a slight player, but she's very strong over the footy, and she's just pulled that one, but she's got a pretty penetrating kick on her as well. So she'll walk away today, you know, bit some disappointment, but at the same time, she certainly had a really good go at it today.
So 4 behinds in this term for the All-Stars. Convert those to goals and they'd have the lead.
Yeah, and it's good, as I mentioned it earlier, but they've taken it on. You know, Lauren Stammers is coaching the All-Stars today, and I suggest that she's gone out there and said to them, this is your opportunity to go out there and show what you can do, and they've really taken that on in this last quarter and tried to open the game up and play some clean and good-looking football.
Into the final 20 seconds. It has been a thrilling contest here at Provident Financial Oval, 2020 NAB All-Star Series. What a great concept it's been. Well done to all involved that have organised. And it will be a 17-point win for the team in gold and black. Congratulations to the WA Simply Energy AFLW 18s team. They ran out with a 17-point win to a gallant Waffle Women's All-Star team. Joe Taylor, your summation of what's been a very entertaining game despite low scoring.
Yeah, it has, and I think, you know, the weather didn't do us any favours today. We really wanted to showcase the best of the talent that we've got and give them the best opportunity to really show that. And the rain and the wind probably didn't help with that, but the girls were able to work it through. I thought today, Naira Anderson, for me, probably had the most effect on the game. She was clean under pressure and just able to make some really good decisions. I thought early Bennett for the Simply Energy All-Stars was you know, prominent early. She's a strong player through their midfield, and you know, on the opposition we spoke about Demanis, and you know, we had early in the game Gilchrist. I thought was very good, particularly coming out of the Perth Football League. She doesn't know a lot of these girls, even though they don't all play together. These girls play against each other each week. So you know, to come into that and to be able to have that sort of an effect early, I thought was really good. And for me, I think Tia Haynes was probably the pick of the players for the All-Stars. She didn't give up all day, and you know, she finds the footy, and as you said, she kicked 1-5 or something in the WAFLW season, but she plays predominantly as a midfielder halfback, so to be getting those shots on goal. You just see the Hyde twins there. You know, both of them were pretty strong today over the football, and were able to, I think, show the growth that they've had in their game and the strength that they've got through playing some senior football this year.
Great to see the two teams arm in arm. A lot of teammates on opposite sides today too, which is what we probably didn't mention. So a chance to cap off what's been a very entertaining game. And I mean, if the skills on show today in very, very testing and trying conditions indicators show that the future of football in WA, particularly for our young women, is very, very bright.
Oh, look, most definitely. You know, we had a shortened season, if you like, in the WAFLW this year, but it was one of the longest seasons any of us have been involved in. There was a big break in the middle. There was so much going on. So to see the development still in particularly the young players and the way that they've been able to come back from the COVID enforced break, and we're lucky over here in the West, though we've had rotten weather all year. We've been able to play football our thoughts go out to particularly Victorians, but those on the East Coast who aren't able to play. Queensland have been able to play. They've got their grand final tomorrow for the AFLW. So
good luck for those players.
Cheeky plug. Nicole Graves and Courtney Eagle from Swan Districts are both in there. But it's great to see that we're able to give these opportunities to these girls, and our competition here in the West, I think, is growing from strength to strength. And the players you see out there on the field today, they're the names that we're all going to be speaking about for the next 5-10 years.
So 4 goals, 6-30 to 1 goal, 7-13. So 8 scoring shots to 10. Unfortunately, they just didn't have their goal kicking boots on this afternoon. Fantastic contest, well coached as well, and a great concept. And we must wish the players that will be entering the upcoming draft all the very best.
Yeah, definitely. And I think shout out to the AFL as well, who have been able to put these games on around the country.
Yep.
There's been able to be no state championships this year, and for those girls in their draft year, it's pretty disappointing because you want to be able to showcase on the big stage. So front row screens and these guys to be able to get the stream out there and give these girls the opportunity. And it's a big week. We've got the Sandover and WAFLW awards combined on Tuesday night. We've then got the combine on Wednesday, and then next week.
Who's your favourite for the women's competition to take it out?
Oh, look,
there was a tie last year, the 2 Subiaco girls.
Yeah, Hayley Miller and Danica Piscaneri tied it last year. I think Hayley's had another really good season. She's played a lot of football. Gabby O'Sullivan from East Fremantle had a pretty good year, but Courtney Rowley, for me, I think has had a great year for Peel. Okay. She's really young, but I probably haven't got a really good handle on the opposition, but I would think that Hayley would have to be right up there again.
So some of the highlights of our game, thanks to Simply Energy, and a couple of ferocious tackles this afternoon. We mentioned how good the 18s team were withstanding pressure. I mean, 1 goal, 7. Could have been more. I know that a couple of the forwards, particularly Demanis, got off the chain a little bit in that fourth quarter, but they were really good with their composure and especially their disposal across half-back today. Yeah,
look, and particularly in that, I think it was the second quarter, the ball probably spent about 85% of the time in the WAFL All-Stars forward line, and, the Simply Energy 18s girls were able to stand up under that, and they were under immense pressure, but they were still really composed, and they were hitting up their targets coming out, and they lost a bit of connection to their forwards, but certainly the backs, probably 8 or 9 really went through there today, and we just see, I think Tia Haynes has been given best on ground for the All-Stars, so that's good. But the cohesion that they had in their back 6, 7, 8, 9, however many went through there was really, really pleasing to see, and they were able to drive the ball forward from there.
Yeah. Joe, absolutely love your work. You're doing just fantastic things in the WA football community, and you've done it over so many years. Congratulations on another successful year and your part in promoting the game, and we thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really enjoy calling this with you this afternoon.
No, thanks, Matt. It's been a pleasure. Nice way to finish the season off, actually. I think that's me done now.
Yep.
Go and rest.
Well, I can't ask you live on air if you want to appear in the next game, so as our friend did to you last week. But it is all pointing upwards, and we wish all of the players in the 2020 AFLW draft on October 6th the very best of luck. Thanks again to NAB and also to Simply Energy for their wonderful support, and to Front Row Screens. They are setting the bar as far as promoting the local football here in WA. On behalf of Joe Taylor and the entire Front Row Screens team, this is Matt Chechen signing off from Provident Financial Oval. Have a great afternoon.
The Simply Energy AFL Women's WA Under-18s versus the WAFLW All-Stars live stream is proudly brought to you by NAB. Simply Energy, proudly supporting WA footy. And Front Row Screens, your local streaming superheroes.